Slum 1200 GGI Mob, and I'm back. Slum 1200 GGI Mob, and I'm back. Slum 1200 GGI Mob, and I'm back. Back.
Sleeping on your beef, that shit there could be bad for you. Nigga catch you slipping, that shit could get mad up. Creatures on the creep lurking, call it the last supper. 100 on the Mac 9, they call that bitch Mag Muffin.
For the first time, members of a DEA task force are speaking about the investigation and capture of one of the most dangerous men Memphis has ever known. This man, a drug dealer with ties to Mexican cartels.
His name is Craig Pettis. A lot of you are going, oh yeah. He's serving 9 life sentences in the federal pen for murder, conspiracy, drug trafficking, bunch of charges. Fox 13's Jeremy Pierre joining us live this morning, and you talked to the leader of the DEA task force who finally apprehended this guy's, what would you say, after 13 years?
Yeah, a total of 13 years, but 8 years for sure, fully concentrating on Craig Pettis and his operation. Now we're talking about a very dangerous man, Craig Pettis. Now this DEA task force leader went into detail as to how much Craig Pettis would pay to have someone killed, and goes into detail as to how taking Pettis off the streets interrupted an international drug trafficking operation.
For those who don't know, many remember this man as the biggest drug lord in America at one time.
And he took that route that a lot of these guys do and became one of the biggest drug dealers connected to that cartel in Mexico.
His name is Craig Pettis. Former DEA agent Abe Collins says at one point in time, he was the biggest drug trafficker in America, based right here in Memphis.
2001 is when I began the investigation on him, realizing how big, significant of a target he was in this area. From all the intel that we was getting, I initiated the investigation on it. And DEA, you initiate stuff. Nobody just assign you anything. It's up to you to take initiative on investigations, and sometimes that's what's missing in law enforcement.
Collins explained it took a lot of help investigating Pettis, both federal and local law enforcement, on a task force. Thurman Richardson of the Memphis Police Department joined that task force.
He said, we're going to go look for Craig Pettis. He got our free time. On our free time in Vegas, because Craig had a house in Vegas.
Collins told me Craig Pettis first got on the radar of federal law enforcement as a teenager in 1995. It wasn't until the 2000s when the DEA really started looking into his dealings with drugs. By that time, Richardson says Pettis' connections became powerful.
You know, once he actually was a fugitive and he set up shop in Mexico, and he had a direct connect with Edgar Valdez Villarreal, which is AKA La Barbie, and El Chapo. Now he's not just feeding Memphis, he's feeding Dallas, he's feeding South Carolina, he's feeding Atlanta, he's feeding South Mississippi, he's feeding Alabama, he's feeding states.
Collins details the capture of Pettis and the teamwork of the task force in a newly released book titled Gladiators.
Unbeknownst to us, even then, this guy was already in Mexico. I just didn't know it. So if you go through the book, you will see it was just at a certain point that we realized that he was no longer in the U.S. He was actually in Acapulco, Mexico City. He had places all throughout the country of Mexico, being protected by some of the corrupt officials there.
Pettis is currently serving 9 life sentences in federal prison for murder, conspiracy, and drug trafficking.
But he had hired killers, and a couple of them we went to trial on, at least 2 of them we did, but he had others. There's so many people out here would take you out for less than what he would pay. They would take you out for $10,000.
Yeah, so tonight, Abe Collins, the author of Gladiators, will be holding a book signing tonight at the Crumpy's Wings on Highland, starting at 5. Craig Pettis, again, serving 9 life sentences. Along with Craig Pettis, About 40 of his employees also serving time now in the federal penitentiary.
In Florida for a story that sounds straight out of the Netflix Narco. A notorious drug lord known for decapitating his victims is seemingly missing from federal custody. They call him La Barbie. He's not supposed to be released from prison until 2056, but he suddenly vanished from the federal database. Now Mexico is demanding answers as rumors swirl from a medical emergency to witness protection. Joining me now, former acting ICE director and Fox News contributor Tom Holman. Now, Tom, you've been in law enforcement for a long time. You understand what it means to protect the case as well. What do you see playing out?
Well, look, like you said, he, not only was he the top lieutenant in the Sinaloa Cartel, he worked for El Chapo, but he was an assassin. He was a hitman. He killed dozens of people, but just not kill them, he torture them. He'd film it. He'd torture them and behead them and film the whole thing. This man's just a nasty person. But look, he's not walking the streets of this country. He didn't escape. Could there'd be a bolo out to the entire national law enforcement agencies? Bolo means be on lookout for. There's none. So based on my experience, I've worked with BOP many times. He's been moved to a secure location. He's been moved out of the general population that has a lot of cartel members there that knows who he is, that would take revenge on him for doing what I think he's about to do. So he's off on a secure location. I actually think, if I had a guess, educated guess at this, he's about ready to testify. And he's about ready to testify probably against other cartel leaders and Mexican officials. We all know the Sinaloa cartel has their hands in the pockets of Mexican officials, federal law enforcement.
That was Mexico, my next question,
and some
Tom.
of the military.
Yep, one of my law enforcement sources say sometimes they don't tell Mexico because Mexico leaks. They're part of it. Some of the people within the government is on the same team of the enemy. So, of course, they didn't tell Mexico.
And that's probably why Mexican officials are really concerned about this guy right now, because they know what is about to happen. Look, I've said it many times. We work with Mexican law enforcement. I've worked with Mexican law enforcement for 35 years. But we picked and chose what we told them. Because you're right. We can't give them very valuable intel because we've been burned too many times. So we share what we think we can share that's not going to endanger lives. This year, they're not going to share it. So I guarantee this guy's not walking the streets. He's in custody, and he's about ready to do some things in the interest of saving lives and to stop the drug flow in this country.
So, Tom, I just got to ask, what would be the incentive for him to cooperate? Is he going to be back on the streets, or is it for a shortened sentence? What would you say, just to speculate?
I don't know. There could be a lot. There could be a lot of things. They could take him out of general population and put him in a easier prison setting. But look, he's got over 30 years left. So maybe they knock 10 years off his sentence and extradite him, someplace else. But he was born in the United States, so it isn't like they can deport him. But I'm sure he's working out some deal, or maybe he found Jesus while he was in prison. I don't know. Some people in Mexico are starting to panic about what's going to happen in the next week or two.
Fuck them, I'm grinding, I'm trying to get millions. Stack it all up, let it powder the ceiling. Stack it all up, let it pop for my children. Try to take that and I swear that I kill you. I do this shit, get my life like a movie. Braid on your head, get your hit like the movies. Glock with the switch, that bitch shoot like a Uzi. Brain out your head, shit be leaking and oozing. I'm CEO, yeah, I'm big on no Gucci. I just three up that room for some dude shit. Came on and ran up bands up like I'm Boosie. I'm still on 6 year parole, so I'm cool. And POB all on my dick like a groupie. All of my shooters retarded, no drooling. 100 round clips, big old guns go through. Get pop a perk 30, don't feel like I'm moving. Riding that farmer, just me hating ooh shit. Only the family, cause niggas be goofy. Talking that shit, but they straight attitude. And these niggas bitches straight dick in the booty. I know some niggas be itching to shoot it. Run up and put about 6 in his coupe. To kill him and leave him right on chapter 2.